Okay, it's time to actually start the canning process. The jars are still hot from when I boiled them earlier. I'm going to empty the water right back into the same pot. Set the jar out here where it's easy to work with. Put a canning funnel in there. And then it's a good idea to keep the applesauce hot. So I got it under low flame so it doesn't stick. And then fill up your jars to within a ½ inch of the top with hot, boiling, simmering applesauce. That's the reason why the jars need to stay hot. You don't want to be pouring boiling applesauce into a cold jar, it'll crack them. Okay, so you fill it up within a ½ inch of the top. So this is a plastic spatula used to get air bubbles out of the jar before you put the lid on. Then before putting the seal and the lid on, you want to wipe the threads and the top so it seals good. Now it's time to put the sealing ring, or the lid, the sealing lid, and the ring on. Now if you remember earlier, we only heated the water to 180 for these lids because the compound here is designed to allow oxygen to escape once the temperature inside the jar gets to like 180 degrees. I think 170 is a magic number. And then when it gets up to boiling, it softens up and actually creates a seal. So the purpose of the ring is to hold it on there long enough for it to seal. So when you tighten this outer ring on here, tighten it snug, but don't crank it down, because oxygen still needs to be able to boil out of here and escape out of the jar until the temperature gets to 212 for an extended period of time, and then that compound will seal to the jar. And then when you pull them out, they'll cool and it creates a vacuum, and voila, you got it. So I usually do one jar at a time when I'm working by myself. That way everything stays hot. And it doesn't take very long to bring everything to a boil. So anyway, you just repeat this 12 times or however many times you need to use up all the applesauce. Once you get a system worked out, it goes pretty fast. About 3 scoops of this great big stainless steel ladle. Fill the jar. Okay, when it was all said and done, my 20 pounds of apples netted 11 quarts. Missed it by 1, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and fire it up, bring it to a boil. The recipe calls for a 20-minute hot water bath. We're at mile high, 5,280 feet, so we're going to add 10 minutes to the boil because at this altitude, water only boils at about 203, something around there. Alright, once the water gets to a hard rolling boil, that's when I set my timer. We'll give it 30 minutes and we're just about done. Okay, timer went off. At this point you just take the cans out, set them on a towel, let them cool down. Okay, there we have it. 11 quarts of cinnamon applesauce.